Welcome to FailCraft, the podcast where we dive into the messy, real side of success and explore how setbacks become the stepping stones to growth and clarity. I'm your host, Ezekiel Iferia, and today's guest is Jim Hawk, a former corporate IT executive who made a radical pivot later in life to follow his true passion for travel. After navigating a shifting corporate landscape that often leaves experienced professionals behind, he founded JP Hauck Adventures and launched the Life in the Baggage Claim podcast. He's here to share how he turned the uncertainty of a career end into a new beginning, refusing to let regret be part of his baggage. Jim, it's a pleasure to have you on Fieldcraft. Welcome to the show.
King, thanks for having me.
Great. So let's get things started. You mentioned leaving a lengthy career in information technology to start completely fresh in the travel industry. So can you take us back to that specific moment when you realized that your corporate path was ending? So did it feel like a choice you were running towards or a setback you were forced to navigate through?
Yeah, it was definitely not necessarily on my plan at the time it happened.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that I wanted to get more involved with things that related to events and travel. I had run my own event company for a short time on the side, and I did little little dance parties and stuff like that. It just working in IT as many years as I did, and it was over 30 years almost, right? uh, you start to just see the end of the road. You look and you say, it's just not the career I want to do anymore. IT has changed so much. I started in IT in Y2K, basically, before that, but that was one of my big jumps in leadership. And so, it's been a lot of years. And the option I had working in the company was that just sort of ended. And they said, your position is probably not going to carry forward, and told me I was eliminated. And being almost 60 years old, I was like, now what? It's not exactly the right age to chase a new career in the corporate world. At least I didn't feel that it's time for me to take control and do things for me. Let me be my own boss. Let me make my own mistakes and take that path. And so I did. And I've had a few scary moments in the past year and a half, as this has been on almost 2 years. I'm still very scared about the future, like where it's going to go. But, if you don't take a risk, you never know the reward, right?
Okay, fantastic. That's an interesting journey. So, Jim, you talk about living a life without regret. So, when you were making that transition, so was there a fear or what if I failed thought that kept you up at night?
Oh gosh, it still keeps me up at night. It's just being able to be successful, being able to drive business, being able to do this on my own and knowing my personality and my unwillingness to fail, my unwillingness to give up, so it's sort of something that has kept me moving, but also scared me many times. So yeah, it's never easy to make these big decisions. They come at a cost. You have to sort of balance the risks with the rewards. I don't know yet if what that equation looks like, if it's done, because I haven't seen it, but I've had enough to keep going. It's keeping me interested. So living in my true life, of living in the present, living with sort of respect for all things, I sort of let things move me naturally. So if I feel something pushing me, I go. And some people I call that spirituality. It's the spirit that guides me a lot of times, this bigger than me power that pushes me. So I let that be the driving force sometimes. Not unabatedly managed, but at least thoughtfully pursued.
Mm. All right, all right. So, Jim, you mentioned that consequences play far too large a role in decisions we make. So how did you silence, the fear of consequences like financial instability or loss of status when you left your IT career?
Talk to me in 6 months. No, I'm kidding. We'll see what happens. Right. I realized I was walking away from a six-figure salary, a very good six-figure salary that had afforded me a very comfortable life. Ooh, did we lose you? There we are. And you got to take chances and take them while you can. I tell my customers now as a travel advisor that do it when you can do it, and don't live with the regret that you've missed it. My dad died this past summer, and we spent the last 6 weeks of his life together. The last 5 years, actually, we were a lot more time than I did when I was younger. And I saw a lot of regret in his life for things he didn't get to do. And I was bound to determine that I was not going to be in that same space, because it's sad to see someone who's had advantages and been living well and wanted to do everything he wanted to do. And when you turn 70 and 80 and 90, that becomes less and less likely, right? So I'm doing this now. Do I think this is the last pivot I'm going to make? I always like to think they're the last pivot, but that doesn't always work out that way. So I'm hoping this is the last major pivot in my life.
Jim, you have a podcast called Life in the Baggage Claim. So can you tell us about the podcast? What's it about? What does an actual episode on that podcast sound like, and who is it really for?
So the podcast is we're just getting ready to wrap up our first season. So we're very, very much diapers, we're new. And I started it with someone I met when I went to build my travel business. He had bought into the franchise. I bought into at the same time. We were launching our businesses at the same time. We're both about the same age. We live in different parts of the country. We just hit it off during the training. When I got home, I realized that there's no way not to have a presence. You got to have a voice out there nowadays. There's no brick and mortar store for travel agents. So you got to figure out how to be present to people. And I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to just have lots of social marketing crap. I wanted something that was more me. And so I reached out to Chuck, who's my co-host, Chuck Longerbeam, and I said, hey, do you want to do a podcast? And he was thrilled, because he's always wanted to do one too and hadn't never done it. We split the responsibilities. And I said, well, I'm going to call it Life in the Baggage Claim. What do you think? And he loved it. I'd run that name by sort of my inner circle of people I check things with. Most of them thought it was a good name. And the original goal was just to talk about travel. Within about 3 or 4 weeks, we started feeling a shift to talk more about life travel, life journey experiences, similar to what you're doing here, but everything told through the eyes of travel. So what happened in your life? How did travel make that change? Sort of things like that. So we're going to probably end with 26 episodes this first season, which I think as newbies is pretty good. We've got a decent following. We're growing. The target audience, we still want people who want to travel. It's obviously a business lead generator, right? But we also just want to talk about authentic stories and real moments in people's lives where things happen and maybe not what you expected or planned. And how did you get through it? Because both Chuck and I have done these same types of pivots, and we feel like we have something to show people, right? So it's sort of, you can be successful again. So we've had some guests that can talk about that as well. And so the podcast has turned into more about a self-reflection, a self-healing, and look at yourself. It's kind of introspective in many ways, right? And we still do travel episodes, obviously, real clearly on travel. But we've started exploring more like, what are the other topics? What are we going to talk about as older gentlemen, right? What is our plan? How do we want to approach the world? How do we want to be seen, right? And so it's sort of interesting, right? Because it's not what I thought it would be, but it's everything I wanted.
Okay, yeah, fantastic. So, Jim, speaking of pivots, I'd like to know, what personal baggage or limiting beliefs do you believe one have to claim and let go of to reinvent themselves?
Well, we all have an inner voice that's always talking to us, right? And often that voice is a saboteur. It's looking for ways to tell you you won't be able to do something. And it's easy to get into this dialogue where you can spiral down and say, I'm not worthy, I can't do it, I don't have the skills, I don't have the knowledge. And that becomes a limiting factor in your life, because you suddenly don't let yourself even explore. Ever since I got into the corporate world, I did things that I should never have been doing. It was just me. Back in my very young days in college, I was a graphic artist. I was designing, I was doing images for weapon systems and things like that at a defense contractor. I had no knowledge or anything to be there, but I could do the work, And in my whole life, I've had to just sort of say, I'm going to take a chance. I'm always going to take that chance. And I'm going to succeed. I'm going to find a way to get it done. And that's become an ethos for me, even when I'm in the corporate world, is you could give me a task someone else may not be able to accomplish, but ultimately I'm going to get it done.
Okay, so travels can sometimes be about things going wrong or missed flights or lost bags and etc. So I like to know, has your experience dealing with travel failures helped you deal with life's bigger setbacks?
Well, there was one specific event that I ended up in jail and not being able to go on a cruise,
Oh,
which
wow.
definitely a lot about something I was doing and kind of made me rethink a few choices in my life. But overall, I think travel invites you to stop and take a look around and breathe and see what's there. We tend to, especially Americans, tend to want to rush through everything. They want to see it all, be it all, do it all.
Mm,
And nothing's sadder for me than working with a client. It's like, well, I got this week off, so I'm gonna go to this place. Like, oh my gosh, you got enough options there for 14 or 15 days at a time, not just a week, right? And so that means they're not really gonna get anything out of anywhere they go. So for me, when I go back somewhere, I always like to go back and go further than I did the last time when I explored. I always said you go out beyond the doors, out beyond the gates when you arrive in a town. Don't stay in your little bubble. Don't stay at your compound, your hotel, your resort, or wherever you're at. See what's outside. Meet the people. Because I firmly believe that those who travel, one, and those who go abroad and go into cultures and see the cultures have less hate and less fear. They are more willing to understand other people. They can make connections. And when things come up in life where the fringe minority starts saying those people are this and those people are that, you can say, no, they're not. I know those kind of people, they're not that way. Right. So I think travel has always helped me open up my mind and go a little deeper and I've met some amazing folks just completely taking a random shot on something. So it's just, you got to take a chance. Everything in life should be a chance, whether you stay where you're at or don't. Even that's a chance, right? And you can wake up tomorrow and not be able to walk or not be able to see or hear. And then what do you do? Right? If you haven't explored them.
all right. For the listener right now who maybe feels stuck in a safe career, but they know they are missing the banquet. Maybe perhaps they feel they are too old to pivot. So what is the first small risk you would challenge them to take today?
So I encourage folks who are young and single and folks who are old and single to go travel alone. You learn the most about yourself when you're traveling alone. You find out
Mm,
if you're full, you find out how your character works, what scares you, what doesn't, how you make it through situations. I think that's a big deal. And if you're not single and you're traveling with someone, you want to do that, go somewhere in the world that is unique and old and has been around longer than the country you're in. Go somewhere that's 400 or 500 years old. Go somewhere that's got thousands of years of history because
mm,
there's something very amazing. So, like when you go to Rome, for instance, and you walk
yeah.
through the Vatican and you can touch things that were created thousands of years ago, right? And put your hand, you can see stuff that people walked through and you can visualize it because the storytelling's there. I think it tells you a lot about the world. And suddenly it's a smaller place, it's a nicer place. Same with going just about anywhere you can go. But you can go meet people who live in, Dominican Republic, or live in, Australia, who live in Japan. I mean, just you get a chance to see another part of life. Because what we're fed on TV and radio is not life.
Okay, interesting piece of advice there. Jim, after leaving the corporate ladder to build a life of adventure and connection, what does being successful truly mean to you at this current moment?
This is the question I love most when I get asked it. Because to be honest with you, I don't have an equation like others have. I got to have money or I've got to feel comfortable. Because honestly, money doesn't necessarily bring you anything. It doesn't make you a happy person. I want to be comfortable though. I would like to be able to not worry. But ultimately, I was brought up to believe you got to leave the world a better place than where you came in. So it's very important for me to give back and help others. And if I can make a difference in one person's life, if I could do that every day, it would be amazing. But if I can do it just every once in a while, then I'm good. I've accomplished something. It's not about me. I'm a very nurturing, giving person. I don't worry about myself nearly enough. I probably should sometimes. I worry about others. I want to make sure others are happy. They're experiencing a good life. They're having good times. And so naturally fits into my travel business. As I like to tell folks, I'm the dream. I'll sell you your dream, and I'll be your guardian angel while you're traveling.
That is a great one there. Jim, finally, for our listeners who want to plan their next adventure or listen to Life in the Baggage Claim podcast, or perhaps connect with you or contact you. So where is the best place to go?
Well, I would encourage you to go to our podcast to listen to them. You will see our evolution with some fun stuff we talk about. There's some great guests. We have a website for Life in the Baggage Claim, which is lifeinthebaggageClaim.com. We're available on all the major streaming platforms and YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that. I also have my own website at jphauckadventures.com. That's JPHAUCK adventures.com. You can actually reach out to me through that. That has a way to connect with me. If you're looking for someone to help you set some travel up, I'm primarily able to sell to folks in the US and Canada, but I'm always willing to help someone understand something they want to travel. I'm on most social media, which is linked off of all my sites. I think Facebook's the hardest one to find me on. That's sort of intentional. I don't want everybody to get me on Facebook, but I have a personal business profile. But yeah, welcome to hear from you, right? I mean, reach out, say hi, tell me how you found me, tell me what you want to ask. If you're looking, I'm happy to give folks advice and show them how to live a life that's fun.
Right. This has been such an inspiring conversation, and I'm indeed excited and honored to have you on the show today, Jim. It's a pleasure, having this conversation with you on FailCraft.
Likewise, I was real excited to get this on the options to look at. It seemed like a great place to talk, and I'm finding myself getting to tell my story more, and I love it. I love that people want to hear it. I think I just think you're doing a great job with this kind of stuff. This is a good topic to keep people interested in. And I'm really honored to be here myself, and great to meet you.
Thank you very much, Jim. It's a pleasure to have you today.